Welcome to the Gus Alba Perspective, a videocast that aims at elevating the notion of abundance and gratitude over the mindset of fear and scarcity. The topic that I'd like to touch on today are the salubrious, meaning the beneficial effects of having a pet. If you think about this, it sounds quite mundane, but as a healthcare professional, I oftentimes get requests for letters for a support animal, an emotional support animal. And then oftentimes people ask, is there a claim really for this? Well, it turns out that having a pet can offer numerous salubrious, and again, I quote that term, meaning beneficial to our health, effects on both physical as well as mental well-being. And what I wanted to do through this video cast was walk you through some of the positive impacts of having a pet. And in fact, I'm going to walk through a dozen things of consideration because, you know, in the psychiatric setting, having a pet is basically like having a love object, and it's a representation of the way that we want to be treated. And so let's walk through some of these salubrious or beneficial to health issues that I'd like you to consider in thinking about this topic. The first one is that pets offer a viable opportunity of reducing stress. It turns out that interacting with pets, such as stroking or cuddling them, can release oxytocin, a hormone that promotes relaxation and reduces stress levels. So, believe it or not, that's actually a good first step. There's the other aspect of increased physical activity because, by the way, owning a pet, especially a dog, encourages regular exercise through daily walks and playtime. This obviously can lead to improved cardiovascular health and overall fitness. And I think that we've all had the opportunity of seeing neighbors or other individuals walking around with their dogs and kind of thinking, geez, that looks like a fun activity. And in fact, it is. A third thing is lowering blood pressure. So, as a physician, it's important to note that there have been studies that show that spending time with pets can help lower blood pressure, which ultimately is beneficial for heart health. Now, obviously, the area that I operate in, the psychiatric setting, is this next point, and that is enhanced mood. Because pets can provide companionship and unconditional love. This can help alleviate feelings of loneliness as well as sadness. This will ultimately boost overall mood and mental well being, which are phenomenal aids in individuals that might be suffering from affective disorders. This next point is tying hand in hand because there is clearly a reduction of anxiety. The presence of a pet can help reduce anxiety and feelings of agitation. These things offer a sense of comfort and security. And in fact, for a while, I was bringing our dog from home to the office, and I found it very interesting that individuals who happen to be highly anxious would automatically feel more relaxed as they'd be stroking this doggy that was in my office. And obviously, the reason that I brought Sasha, our dog, in is that, this is a very docile animal, a very gentle animal. But, it turns out that there's a great sense of comfort and security that's brought about by pets. Now, let's take a look at a sixth point of value associated with having pets. Think about having a more strengthened immune system. Some research suggests that early exposure to pets can help strengthen the immune system, potentially reducing the risk of allergies and asthma in some kids who might be prone to this. But keep in mind also that if a child is allergic to dander or other things, it's important to recognize that as well as a counterpoint. A seventh point is an increase in social interactions. Think about this. Owning a pet can facilitate social interactions as people oftentimes connect and bond over their shared love for animals. You might see somebody walking and you might see somebody else that has a similar pet, and they'll oftentimes stop and kind of ask, where did you get your pet and what's going on? Or individuals might actually bond over some type of a club that celebrates a particular pet. Now, improved mental health is ultimately the one area that I oftentimes espouse. Pets can be a source of emotional support and can be especially beneficial for individuals that are dealing with depression or other mental health issues. So this comes back to answer the very first question that I laid out, and that, is there merit in having an emotional support animal? And when people are traveling, oftentimes there is a requisite that they have some type of documentation that helps with that. A ninth point of consideration is teaching responsibility. I have young children, and one thing that I oftentimes will tell them is that taking care of a pet requires commitment and responsibility. This ultimately teaches valuable life skills, particularly in children. I saw that with my older children. I see that again with my younger children, and I see that reflected with other families that have, very similar issues in regards to their family dynamics. It's not always fun having to clean up after a pet, but if somebody has to feed the pet, somebody has to clean the litter box or clean the dog run. Well, that's very important because ultimately they're doing so because they love their pet, but at the same time, they're learning very important skills. A 10th point of consideration is a sense of purpose because caring for a pet gives individuals a sense of purpose and can provide structure to their daily routines. The last 2 points are equally beneficial and equally important. Mindfulness and presence is a very important mindset. Being in the presence of pets can encourage mindfulness and living in the present moment, as animals are oftentimes attuned to the here and the now. And the last point is a reduction in feelings of loneliness. Pets can be excellent companions. They're going to be there always, right? Particularly for people who live alone or are isolated, helping to reduce those feelings of loneliness. And while pets can have many positive effects, owning one also comes with a great degree of responsibility and consideration. Providing proper care, attention, and a suitable living environment is what we owe our animals that we care for. So, gratitude is in keeping in mind that it's essential to consider individual circumstances and lifestyles before deciding to bring a pet into one's life. But upon doing so, there can be such an abundance of benefit that is derived from this interaction that it ultimately becomes a solid move. I thank you for joining us on the Gus Alva Perspective on this topic of pets and whether, in fact, they present a salubrious benefit for us or not. Thank you.